If you're fascinated by history and survival tactics, and you want insights the textbooks barely touch, then stay with me. Make sure to subscribe and comment on my channel, because today we're diving into a piece of Viking knowledge that even modern science struggles to replicate. We're about to uncover the secret behind the Vikings' legendary ability to endure the harshest environments. Rain-soaked battlefields, icy seas, and endless northern winters. This is more than just history. It's practical survival wisdom you can adapt today. The Vikings mastered a moisture barrier that defied the elements. Long before Gore-Tex and synthetic waterproofing, the Vikings developed a system that kept them dry, warm, and functional in the most brutal conditions Europe could offer. Their secret wasn't merely clothing. It was a combination of material science, chemistry, and meticulous preparation. They relied heavily on natural substances like animal fats, oils, and plant resins to create what we now call a moisture barrier. But unlike modern waterproof fabrics, which depend on synthetic membranes, the Viking barrier was flexible, self-healing, and adapted perfectly to their layered clothing systems. When facing a cold, wet march across Scandinavia, their outer layers of wool and linen were treated with tallow or fish oil. These oils penetrated the fibres, filling microscopic gaps and repelling water without reducing the breathability of the fabric. Modern waterproofing often traps moisture inside, but the Viking method allowed perspiration to escape while preventing external water from soaking in. This principle is something even modern survival gear struggles to achieve, particularly when balancing long-term comfort with water resistance. Preparation was everything. They didn't just dip their clothing in oil and call it a day. Historical accounts and archaeological evidence suggest that Vikings layered their treatments and combined different substances depending on the season and purpose. Linen tunics would first be boiled in water to open the fibres, then rubbed with animal fat and allowed to dry in smoke from certain hardwoods. This smoke treatment wasn't accidental. It chemically altered the fats, enhancing their water-repelling properties and adding antimicrobial protection. This technique can actually be applied today by survivalists who want to maintain their clothing in harsh conditions. One could start with a tightly woven wool or linen layer, gently warm it, and then rub it with a natural fat like lard, lanolin, or tallow. After that, you just allow the fabric to dry slowly, preferably in a low-heat environment or near a controlled smoke source. Over time, the fibres will absorb the fat, creating a natural barrier that remains flexible and breathable, much like the Vikings' own garments. Modern materials often rely on synthetic polymers to create a hydrophobic surface. These work well for short-term exposure, but they can degrade under friction, extreme cold, or repeated washing. Viking techniques, on the other hand, relied on substances that bonded naturally to fibres. Animal fats, for example, contain long-chain fatty acids that create a microscopic layer of water resistance without forming a rigid shell. When these fats dry, they remain pliable, allowing movement and preventing cracking, a problem synthetic coatings often face in freezing temperatures. Additionally, smoke curing provided a secondary defense. Phenols and other compounds in hardwood smoke acted as natural preservatives, preventing mold and decay. In modern survival gear, microbial growth is mitigated with chemical treatments that can wear off or cause environmental issues. Vikings solved this organically, creating clothing that could last for seasons in wet, harsh climates without advanced chemistry. For modern survivalists, the principles behind Viking waterproofing are more relevant than ever. If you find yourself in a prolonged outdoor expedition with limited access to synthetic gear, understanding this technique can make the difference between comfort and dangerous exposure. Start with wool or linen clothing as your base layers. Apply a natural fat or oil to outer layers and, if possible, expose them to smoke from hardwoods. This isn't a one-time fix. Layers must be maintained as you wear them, especially in rain or snow. In practical terms, even a small cloth treated this way can, double as an improvised rain guard, a wrap, or even an insulation layer. Leather boots treated with fat or tallow tend to last much longer in wet terrain, maintaining both grip and warmth, much like the Vikings' own footwear. Even today, wilderness guides and Arctic explorers actually use similar methods to protect traditional garments in environments where synthetic fabrics just, fail. The main challenge for modern scientists is, honestly, balancing breathability, flexibility, and long-term durability. The Vikings, of course, had centuries of empirical experience which allowed them to really fine-tune the ratio of fats, smoke exposure, and layering. Modern materials can sure achieve water resistance, but they rarely achieve the same synergy of self-healing, durability, and comfort under extreme cold and repeated use. This is why survivalists who understand these historical techniques gain a practical advantage in long-term expeditions where synthetic gear may, falter. By studying these methods, one gains not just historical knowledge, but also tangible survival skills that can be applied in camping, wilderness travel, or even urban emergency scenarios. Every detail, the type of fat, the order of layering, the smoke treatment, translates into actionable methods that, quite frankly, protect both your gear and your body. The Viking moisture barrier is a testament to human ingenuity under extreme conditions. It teaches us that survival is as much about preparation, experimentation, and material understanding as it is about courage and endurance. By learning from history, we gain tools and insights that modern gear sometimes, fails to provide. This knowledge isn't just theoretical, it's actionable and can be integrated into any survival toolkit. If you found this guide insightful and want more detailed explorations into historical survival techniques that still hold practical value today, subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments. Engage with the content because every historical insight you learn can become a life-saving skill tomorrow. Understanding the Vikings' mastery of natural materials is not just about history. It's about equipping yourself to endure, adapt, and survive in the most demanding conditions.